I saw this story from the Post-Millennial. Trans-identified biological male wins women's cycling event in New York, towers over second, third place competitors on podium. And I thought to myself, as I looked at this picture, these women are happy. There are two females standing beneath a biological male who won the contest, and they're smiling and celebrating. The woman on the left should be in the center. The woman on the right should be on the left. And these women are happy that they've lost to a biological male. Now, I said this is the way it should be. Females should learn to smile as they sit beneath males. I'm being somewhat facetious because here's the real story. There's a woman who should be on that podium who is not. She was denied that opportunity and that smile. Winning third place must be fun. Maybe you get some money. But what about the woman who would have been were it not for the biological male who won? That's the reality. But you know what I got to say? If she ain't speaking out, I don't care at all. These women are happy with this. Why are you complaining? No, serious question. Take a look at this tweet. James Lindsay said, 70 years of feminism. And on the left, it says, show her it's a man's world. And there's a man in bed being served by a woman on her knees with a smile on her face. On the right, you have Drew Barrymore on her knees for a deranged, narcissistic sociopath, Dylan Mulvaney, who I believe is not trans, by the way. If you take a look at Dylan Mulvaney's TikTok history, I think that would be apparent. They're happy. I don't understand why everybody's complaining about it. If these women are smiling and happy to have this happen, who am I to take away their joy? Now, there are, of course, other females who aren't so happy about it. I respect them, and I will fight on their behalf if they so decide that they would accept that help. Because the women who aren't happy, I'm here to support. We have women's sports because, as all of you know, as most human beings, and even many animals probably know, males tend to be stronger, bigger, faster than females. Because females create life and males protect that life. That's about it. It's a lot more complicated. I shouldn't say that's about it. But even as I stated, some animals know this. Like, I got chickens outside. They all know who's the boss, Roberto Jr. And the reason Roberto Jr. is the boss is because Roberto Jr., the rooster, is willing to sacrifice himself for the lives of the hens. Because the hens create life and he doesn't. Also, it's a little bit more simple that in the rooster's mind, probably he just want to get him some. But, I understand that. It's a natural part of life. He wants to sire the young among the females. But if you lose the females, ain't no more chickens. We got Cocktown over at Freedomistan. That's where all the roosters are. Ain't no babies happening there. Here, some of these hens are trying to get broody and have babies. And there are going to be more chickens running around soon. It's getting springtime, man. Chickens are going to start sitting on those eggs. And then it's going to get interesting. We do take the eggs to try and stop them from getting broody. But now we actually kind of want that to happen. So anyway, here's the story. A biological male has won a women's cycling division in New York City. At the Randall's Island Crit number 3 of the weekend, transgender athlete Tiffany Thomas was seen at the top of the podium while two women followed in second and third place. A crit race or criterium is a lapped closed circuit race that usually takes place in cities, according to bicycling.com. They want to mention that this individual has won first place in 15 races. Surprise, surprise. In a March 11th Instagram post, Thomas wrote in response to the Daily Wire's Michael Knowles CPAC speech, I am tired. I missed a lift yesterday and just sat on the floor next to the barbell for a couple of minutes. My strength coach, Julia, asked me what I was thinking about during the lift. The truth was I was thinking about nothing and everything. I was thinking about the words eradicate transgenderism that were spoken at the CPAC convention a couple days prior. The erosion of LGBTQ rights over the previous year, whether the places that we are planning on racing this summer are going to be safe for me to travel. If my existence on my team will come at the cost of lost sponsors and support from my teammates. You are damn right you should be thinking that. Companies should immediately pull their sponsorship. Listen, if you want to compete, I have no problem with that. If you want to live free in who you are, I have no problem with that. But you seek to subvert the rights of others under the masquerade of victimhood. And I will not accept that. If you come to me and say that you are trans and you want to compete, I say, what can I do to help you? I would say that of most people who are trying to find a better life for themselves. But no, you come to me and say, how can I take away the rights and privileges of others around me? And I say, you, sir, are the villain. You are the bad guy. Now, hypothetically, I'm not referring to Thomas, of course, who is a trans woman. I'm saying that if a person comes to me in any capacity, if this individual came to me and said, I would like to compete, I am a transgender woman, then I would respond to that person by saying, perhaps we can create a division just for you and others who would wish to compete with you. Perhaps we can do a mixed sex division or a transgender division, and anyone who chooses to enter can. The problem is these people come back and they say, no, you don't understand. We want to take the space from the females who have fought so long and hard to have it. We want to take it from them, rip it away from them by force, and then call you the bad guy when you say that to us. That's what we're doing. This is the problem. The individual, Thomas, goes on to write, there are a lot of unknowns. I am fortunate that I have the support of my team director, teammates, coaches, blah, blah, blah. Well, you know what? It's funny when it comes to these teams. It's going to be all trans males in the Olympics in the future, because the Olympics is a brutal industry. I knew someone who was training for the Olympics once, and they get run through the ringer. They're told they can and can't eat. They have to train 24/7. If a country wants to win gold medals, do you think they're going to send females when they can send males? Of course. Look at as many trans athletes as possible. And then the Olympics will be a bunch of males. There will not be women. Some, probably, but rarely, especially depending on the event. But this is the reality of where we're going. These individuals, a lot of what we see here, a smile on their face as they take from you. But you know what? I'll say it again. These women are smiling, so I got no beef. Now, are there women who competed who are not smiling? I'm sure there are many who are very angry, but they're not speaking out. So you know what I have to say to them? Screw off. Bye-bye. If you're not going to stand up and speak up and say, I reject this, then I will not defend you, and I have disdain for you. Shout out to Taylor Silverman. Taylor, we met because she was skating in female skate competitions and losing to males. And she was like, this is not right. I'm not entering the male contests. And so we did a Cast Castle show where I gave her a check for the difference of what she was supposed to win in first place. And we're going to have her host a skate show, waiting for the new studio to get built. Because I tremendously respect standing up and being, and not even being a dick, but just being like, hey, I kind of think this is wrong. That's all you got to do. But you know what? As we increasingly move into this space, so be it. Here's another story, both from the Post-Millennial. Women of the Year, trans-identified male lawmaker who advocates for child sex changes honored by USA Today. Okay. Look, there's a post I saw on Twitter talking about mental illness among those who are trans-identified, and it's extremely high relative to non-trans individuals. And it seems to be, whether it's on purpose or not, eugenics. The sterilization of the mentally ill. That's it. I'm not saying it's intentional, but this is what's happening. People who are mentally ill are being told to be trans, which is removing them from the gene pool. Again, whether on purpose or otherwise, I don't know. Let's just assume it's not on purpose. That's what's happening. They are going to mentally ill young people, autistic young people, sterilizing them. It's almost like artificial selection is happening right before our eyes. So my attitude with this is, it's simple. If the women are smiling as this happens, well, okay. Everything's good. Ain't nobody complaining. Why would I? I'm not on a female bicycling team. What do I care? What do you care? A serious question. Shout out to Matt Walsh and Michael Knowles. I ask you this. What do you care if women overwhelmingly like that they are losing? Now, you may come back and say, Tim, it's because there are women who don't like what's happening. Fair. But why don't those women start a female league and not a women's league? Of course, you may respond, because they shouldn't have to, because it was their space in the first place. Yes, yes. But we can be like the left or we can be like the right, right? The left says, how can the world change for me? The right says, how can I change to better suit the issues I face in this world? So my attitude is not to whinge and complain about the fact that these corporations are all supporting this, but to take a look at some of these prominent athletes like Riley Gaines or Taylor Silverman. Do your own thing. Now, I wish we could do more. You know, we're planning a skate contest. We need the facilities. We don't have the resources. I wish we were bigger and had more capabilities, but we're doing the best we can. We put out a book just recently, Ghosts of the Civil War. We're putting out a song on Friday, and we are building the new space to do the skate show and the new shows. And it's just taking forever because of the economic garbage we're dealing with. Material shortages, labor shortages, can't get the internet installed. I'm pretty pissed off about it. But anyway, that's my point. If you want an answer to how you change these things, I think it's in the form of how James Lindsay has approached it. Show the women, people like Drew Barrymore, get on your knees, Drew. How do they respond to that? I'm not a fan of it. I think women have agency. I think they should be allowed to vote, all that good stuff, right? But if these women want to be on their knees like the 1950s, then who am I to complain? Let them drop to their knees and find their rightful place submitting to males. Now me, I've actually always been more about equality and letting females choose and live their lives as they see fit. But if they don't want that, then why am I going to complain? Here's the reality. This approach that James has is intending to strike at the core of these women. The women who do not want to be seen as submissive to men. But this is what they are doing. The women who smile and cheer. Look at this. People will look back on this moment and they will see a man celebrating a victory with women cheering on that man. They're not going to look at it the way the left looks at it today, that trans women are in or anything like that. That's what they'll say in the future. The left thinks they're going to win the future. They're not. They're not. I'll leave it there. Next segment's coming up at 6 p.m. on this channel. Thanks for hanging out, and I'll see you all then.